friends and family, for people, or my new friends and family here. Thank y'all for coming out. And these people are probably some of the best people I know, or to get to know. So, to get started, Joshua's Stake-Out is a book series that I wrote over the course of 3 or 4 years. My imagination had been created when I was a child, probably about 4 or 5 or 6. So this is maybe a 12-book series. The first 6 books in the series are on Amazon right now. As you can see, they have phases. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has phases. Joshua's Stake-Out also has phases. So next slide. As we get here, is a preacher with supernatural powers. He forms unlikely alliances with both his friends and former foes. Next slide. So as you can also see, this is more oriented towards family. There's elements of faith in here. The first book is very spiritual. It's very personal as well. It's about a character named Joshua Lark and how he discovers himself. He meets his shadow self, his higher self. It's basically aspects of his consciousness. Next slide. As you can also see, the themes in here, a lot of the characters, this is mainly, a lot of it is fictional, but you might see a name in here like archangel names, or you might see mythological names in here. There's a lot of lore, there's a lot of mythology, there's a lot of, you can imagine the fantasy elements in there, but a lot of it is involved in the spiritual and the fantasy element. Next slide. So we get into who the character is, Joshua Lark. He has a few challenges, but his background, he's from Atlanta, he's a preacher from Atlanta. He developed supernatural powers after an internal journey into himself. And you can also see as well, he forms a team, like a superhero team, later in the books called Stake-Out. It's called Joshua's Stake-Out. It's the official name. And then we go into, he forms a metaphysical cross. It's sort of like, this is a golden cross, but his character holds like a 6-foot cross. Blasts golden beams of light energy. It's sort of his weapon, superpower. Next slide. As we go in here, he's going into, I guess if everyone can see it, it's basically the 2 aspects of himself, higher self, shadow self. It's Jungian, but transformation from the shadow is basically into the id, sort of unconscious, subconscious mind. So it's very psychological as well, Going into the next slide. Next slide this one is the main antagonist of the story. Edward Gage is a character named No Eyes. No Eyes is he becomes the main antagonist after a battle with Joshua Lark. He basically has supernatural powers of telekinesis, and he's able to wield things with his mind. There's another fallen archangel who is one of the characters in the lore side of the story, so the internal battles of the character. Next slide. Going into it, we also see there's some side characters on the team. One called Sword Guy. He has the power of, no powers really. He just wields swords against Alexander. Electro Boy, the power of electricity. Next slide. Cynthia Starter, one of the main protagonist love interests. She wields the power of water, hydrokinesis. Rebecca wields the power of fire. So superpower. Next slide. Avery, he's basically an archetype of Batman and Daredevil. He's basically the vigilante, fights crime. And then Nicole and Lewis, they got some people who probably didn't play them back there. Her name's actually Nicole, my sister. She has super strength and power, and Lewis super speed. Next slide. Okay, before morning, this is the backdrop, how he's sort of getting his powers in the first movie, and then in the second film, it's about how he forms the team. Next slide. Okay, the simulation there, it's a little bit of a spoiler at the end of the second movie. They get trapped in a simulation like The Matrix. Third movie, they have a Christmas special, go figure. Okay, next slide. Next slide. Okay, the 5th movie, they're fighting a lot of the mythological and both the lore elements in there. The 5th slide, and then you can see in the 6th movie, it's more of time travel. Next slide. I have less than 30. So the comparisons, Avengers. A lot of the Avengers movies, you have phases, but action styles, Avengers like fantasy styles more rings type. Next slide. So all these budgets here, I mean, it's probably going to be, what I use is more returns, but at a smaller scale, yeah, 10,000, but it's really, might be 10 million at most, but next slide. So a lot of the distribution here, we have ways to get it on VOD, YouTube, channel, things that can make money. Next slide. Okay, phases, next slide. Phases, next slide. Okay, and why I made it, how I can connect African Americans, but also really the whole world that is into spiritual, religious type structural stories, action stories, fantasy stories, pretty much.